Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today is an update video on the Chinese Carbon 29er from AliExpress. I've been reading the comments. A lot of people have been asking, how's the bike holding up? Would I buy it again? What would I do differently if I built this bike again? And today we're going to cover all of that. Alright, so let's start off with quality. How's the bike held up over the last 5-6 months? So I've got probably 250 trail miles on the bike. I ride it at least 2 to 3 times a week. It's been to Snowshoe, West Virginia, a couple of other bike parks, local trails, downhill trails, free ride trails, jump trails, and so far it's held up really well. There's not a single crack in the frame, not a single defect. I see no issues. If you've been following the channel, you know that there's only really one issue I've been having with the bike, and that's the derailleur hanger. This bike uses a Kona rear derailleur hanger, and it's very thin in its cross section, and when you get onto the more rougher terrain, I've broken probably 2 or 3 rear derailleur hangers up to this point. So one thing I would say to look out for if you're thinking about buying a carbon fiber bike off of AliExpress is to really kind of look at the specs of the bike. Make sure that it doesn't use any unusual sizes for parts. Check things like the rear derailleur hanger. Make sure that it's robust, things like that. That's one thing that I didn't look for when I purchased this. Other than that, that is the only issue I've had with the bike. The quality has been amazing. No creaks, no cracks. The carbon fiber is holding up amazing. Now, that doesn't mean I'm 100% satisfied with the way that I built this bike. There are essentially 3 main changes that I've made. The first change is to the front fork. The original fork for this bike did not have enough travel. I think it was 120 mil travel front fork, and on a lot of the rougher terrain, it was not holding up. If you follow the channel, I've made a review video for this HIMALO 160 mil travel front fork. It's got rebound adjustment plus a remote lockout, and I think it comes in at like $170, and that has been a huge improvement to the way that the bike has been riding. The next change that I made was upgrading the brakes. So originally the bike was built with 160 millimeter rotors and using the Shimano MT200, which are entry-level budget brake calipers. I've since upgraded those rotors to 180 millimeter rotors, which I think is really the limit for the Shimano MT200 brakes. If you want to get more stopping power than that, I really think you need to upgrade to like an XTR style brake caliper and lever. But the 180 mil has been working great. I 3D printed the adapter so that I can go from 160 to 180, and that 3D printed bracket's been holding up very well. The third and final change that I made was upgrading the tires. I switched from Continental tires to Maxxis tires originally, and then I changed from Maxxis tires to these WTBs. These are 29 by 2.4. They're the WTB Trail Boss, which is a much more aggressive tire, and I've also converted these to tubeless. So this is my second time running tubeless. We'll see how that goes, and I'll update you with that in future videos. But I think the tubeless with these tires is going to be a really good setup. So what's in the future for the Carbon 29er? I think the next thing that we're going to change is probably this rear shock. I want to switch to a budget coil shock absorber. Several people in the comments have been asking, you know, after I did the HIMALO front suspension upgrade, if I would consider doing something like a coil spring. You can find them on AliExpress for under $100. I think that it's worth giving it a shot. So probably the next product review I'm going to do, I'm going to pick up one of those coil spring shocks and do a review on that. With that being said, would I build this bike again? I absolutely would. I think all of the components for the price that I paid for them have the quality and how well they've held up over time, and the riding that I've done so far have far exceeded, you know, what I paid for those parts. And I would definitely wouldn't hesitate to buy, you know, some cheap Chinese components off AliExpress. With that said, keep following the channel, subscribe, leave a comment down below if you've got some questions, and I'll try and answer everyone's questions as best I can. I'll link all the products that I've used on the bike in the description below. Again, I appreciate everyone who has subscribed, and thanks for watching.